called it the lifeline of the Indian Constitution and the most important fundamental right. So for enforcement of fundamental right, you have the High Court. So you should understand that when does a petition get filed in the High Court, what are the reliefs being sought in those petitions, and whether those reliefs are within the purview, within the ambit of a constitutional court or not. I'll also give another example. We have the High Court functioning on the administrative side. There will be administrative orders issued by the High Court. There will be notifications issued by the High Court on the administrative side. I came across a very interesting social media post recently which claimed that the High Court has declared the entire state of Manipur as a hill state. But fortunately, that social media post on X, formerly Twitter, also had the notification attached to it. So I went through it because I have also been covering the Supreme Court on this very aspect. It was in pursuance of the National Judicial Pay Commission and the subsequent Supreme Court orders that this notification was issued, and it was confined only to the service conditions and certain emoluments that the judges of the judicial officer and the judges in the state of Manipur, they were entitled to. For that limited purpose, the state, in all the jurisdiction and all the territorial jurisdiction that the judiciary has, it was declared as a hill state. But I'm mentioning this because there was a lot of clamor on the social media that the High Court has declared the entire state as a hill state, which is again a matter of understanding the High Court. This is not within the remit of the High Court to do so, and that was also not the purpose of that notification. So I am glad that RG sir has said that there will be an accreditation of the journalists here, I am an accredited journalist of the Supreme Court. I have been an accredited journalist for a very long time now. It gives you a lot of access to the court concerned. It helps you build a professional network with the officials and the judges, as well as it will give you a sense of belongingness, a sense of more accountability. It will improve your journalistic competence also once you are accredited journalist. I'll believe that most of you would have been covering different beats and not just courts here. But when you're covering courts, the issue of accuracy becomes very, very important. That issue of accuracy and the issue of knowledge at the same time. Issue of knowledge because as the Honorable CJ was talking about, Justice Singh also talked about it, there is a difference between a judgment, an order and the observations and the exchanges which are being in a way exchanged, the court exchange during the proceeding. When we report about them, it's not to say that we cannot report observations. We can report observations, but we must be mindful of reporting those observations in the right perspective, in the right context. We should know the difference between the observations and the order. So when you report an observation, you do not use words like the court held, the court declared, the court ruled. No, observations or obiter dicta, they are not rulings of the court. So when you report about observations, you must say that the court observed, the court commented, and at the same time add a caveat, whatever that case is, that this case is still being heard, it has not been decided yet, the final order of the judgment is yet to be pronounced. You make it very clear in your reportage that this is not the final ruling of the court, and what you are reporting are just the observations and tentative view perhaps of the court, which may change during the final hearing, or it may not be the final view of the court at all. As legal journalists, our job is also to make sure that people are made aware of the legal nuances. It is a challenge for us to understand the legal jargons, given the impact of social media, the exigencies of electronic media. We must be quick, we must be fast, we are competing with different organizations, but at the same time, we must also remain very, very careful that when we are reporting from court, we have to be accurate. And when we say something, when we convey a court directive, a court ruling to our audience, we must demystify the legal jargons. They should be understandable to lay people. They should understand the implication of that order, judgment, ruling that you are reporting on. You must clarify what is that ruling meant to do. You must, if you are talking to a party, you must keep your reportage fair. It should not exude any bias. We will all have our own opinions on every issue. But when we sit down and write our news copies, our copies must be bereft of our personal biases and our personal opinions. Especially when we report from courts, it becomes very challenging. We may not agree with what the court has said personally, but when we are reporting, we will report only what the court has said. If you have an opinion on it, find a different column to report on it. You don't mix it with a court reportage, because that will not only confuse the audience, that will also send a wrong message. This is why in a newspaper you have different pages to report news, and you have an op-ed page or an opinion page. Likewise, if you're speaking on TV, I should say that I have also worked for TV. I was working with CNN News 18 for almost 4 years. So I have the experience of a news channel also. I worked with the Press Trust of India. I have an experience of a news agency, and then I have worked for the Indian Express newspaper, and currently I am with the Hindustan Times. So having worked in all different medium of information, I can tell you, yes, with TV the times are challenging. You will have to report it very quickly. Perhaps TV also asks you, the anchor there will want you to also give your opinion at the same time when you are reporting about a court order or a judgment, that what does it mean, how do you feel about it, how do you think about it. But that is not a court reporter's job. A court